Okay, did that change the dynamics any? I guess on playback I'll be able to tell whether the light behind the screen or whatever. I have various places that I will probably shoot some of these videos from. I have a place in Miami. I have an office here in town, and as you can see, I'm in my home now. I think I already mentioned that. And I have some outside locations on the patio and this and that. And basically, I'm moving all these glasses out of the way. I'm just going to tell stories and sometimes maybe get a little involved in the politics of the day. I have sometimes strong opinions about that. The name of this whatever the hell this is. What is this? I don't know. Is this a blog? Is it a? I don't know what it is. This video. We'll go under the name of Gilty, Gilty, and surely enough, I'm probably guilty of something. Oh, I'm kind of liking this light. My face looks lighter in this, doesn't it? Golly sakes, what a good-looking devil. And one of my friends tells me that I should always put my head forward and my chin down, and that way you can't see all this crap under here. But the way I've got this set up, I'm kind of happy with the angle. I don't quite understand why the light goes. See, my face looks a little darker now. Well, whatever. Anyway, this is my first foray. These are going to do several of these to try to get an idea of what to do different and to make it more interesting. Obviously, this isn't very interesting, but it's giving me a chance to feel a little more comfortable in front of the camera. Not exactly what I'd call a shy person. I'm a very unscripted person. I'm more of an ad-lib kind of guy. Look how dark my face just got. Now, what do you think's causing that? Now it's bright again. Huh? Dark again. Oh, I wonder if that has anything to do with the sun outside. Behind me, there are some. Well, you can't see them. They're shuttered, but at the very top, they're not shuttered. And I'm thinking maybe the sunlight from outside is doing that. I may have to get some kind of lighting deal that shines on me like the star that I am. Anyway, sitting here this morning drinking iced coffee. An interesting story about iced coffee is that, or mocha iced coffee, was I had an uncle who was in World War II and worked with the Swiss and the French and actually would frequently tell stories about his invention accidentally of iced coffee and iced mocha. Of course, he was somewhat of a nut, but he believed it. Now, what do we want to talk about this morning? Do we want to talk about the Supreme Court decision to allow, what do you call those people? I mean, I don't want to be, I should know what do you call those people? I mean, what is the terminology? Same-sex marriages. You would think, being of my age and background and experiences, that I would be extremely. You know what? I just noticed something. I've got to quit saying That kind of shows that my brain is engaged. So, going back to it, you would think I would have some big problem with that, but I really don't. Not in this day and time, and maybe not in any day and time. I'm not, actually, this kind of brings up a cute story. You've got to stop that. I can't stand that. About 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, during a rather lengthy divorce, I decided to become a lesbian. And people would say, well, why do you want to become a lesbian? And I said, well, it's quite simple. I mean, the only thing I've ever wanted to do since I can remember, and I think some of my first memories of sliding down my cousin's legs as I jumped out from under the dining room table and grabbed them in their little shorts was that of wanting to lay with women. And I realized that what the lesbians get to do, they just lay with women all the time. Now, I've sensed it hasn't worked well for me. I'll have to be honest with you. I don't know if it was the beard or, well, I just don't know. I mean, I think I'm relatively attractive. I'm surely as attractive as some lesbians, and but it just didn't work for me. But would have had great advantages or disadvantages. The other thing as a lesbian that I saw as an advantage is that I could never get married again, so I wouldn't have to share my home or pay alimony or any of those things. Now, of course, all of that has gone by the wayside. And I have some great friends. One of them is a gay woman, and she was extremely upset and has lost many friends. She's a very successful businesswoman, and she loves. Well, obviously she's gay. She loves women and beautiful young girls, and she's a beautiful lady herself. But they now, if she isn't careful, she could end up married. I mean, she's kind of like me. She has a drink now and then. You never know, when you're going to end up saying "I do" in the Elvis Chapel of Love in Vegas. So she's extremely concerned about the ruling. But to get back to my views on it, you've got to quit. I can't stand the uhs. My God. Anyway, for years, my next door neighbor was a gay man who had a gay companion, which makes sense since they were both gay. I mean, that was probably an oxymoron. Anyway, I traveled with them. I went on cruises with them. We went on vacations with them. I had dinner with them frequently. I had them in my home. I went to their home. We had a wonderful relationship, basically. Now, the story I'm about to say has nothing to do with the fact that the man was gay and his partner were gay. I loved them both. But he had very liberal political views. And one night in his kitchen, oddly enough, he has this big house. I could show it to you. We could see it from here, but it's a beautiful two-story thing with the big columns in the front and brick, and at that time ivy growing up the walls. And anyway, we never allowed to leave the kitchen. Anytime we went there for drinks, dinner, whatever, we all gathered in the kitchen. Tremendous house. Never let us out of the house. They never let us out of the kitchen. Now, I know that they weren't keeping sex slaves or anything, because there were times that I would go around the house with him to look at. He was an antique collector and all, and I never saw any chains or bondage or anything. But at party time, it was always in the kitchen. Anyway, I'm not sure why I told you that part of the story. But he would frequently upset me to the point that I would just go ballistic. I know, looking at me sitting here calmly, you're thinking, well, what a nice guy. He would never lose his temper or say anything crazy or threaten anybody. And I don't even remember the circumstance of what he said. It had to do with politics. It probably had to do with George Bush at the time, George W. Bush. And I just went ballistic. There were probably 6 or 8 people there, and whatever he said to me, I went crazy, and I said, that's it, I've had it. I'm going to tie you up in your bedroom and burn this house to the ground with you in it. Now, it got kind of quiet in the room for a few minutes, and actually for quite a while. And in my mind, while the silence was building or dwelling or whatever silence does, I began to think of what I said. And I thought, that was really a dumb thing to say. If his house catches on fire, people are going to think I did it. And actually, probably if his house caught on fire, I probably would have done it. But anyway, finally I said, well, I didn't exactly mean that. Well, yes, I did mean that. I said, I think what I'll do is I'll go home and we'll see you again tomorrow. And I left, and I'm sure there was applause as I was leaving. I don't know. I couldn't hear it, although I could walk across his yard to mine. I couldn't hear the applause as that crazy bastard next door has threatened you again. But I love the man, still do. His significant other is a great guy, and I've done a lot of business with him. I've done, as I said, socially. So the point of all that was that if you want to marry a guy, or if you're a woman, you want to marry a woman, or if you're a transvestite, we'll get in that sometime. I don't understand that crap at all. But if you're a transvestite, you want to marry a transvestite. But if you're a transvestite, you may want to marry a guy or a woman. I'm not sure how does that work. Anyway, however that works, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not going to marry any of the three of you. That's it. I mean, you do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. It's a moral issue. Somebody said that. Somewhere in the Bible it talks about the fact that let God sort it out in the end. If you get to heaven, or you're standing at the gates and waiting to get in, and you answer those questions, and it's offended God that you're married to a guy, then you're not getting in. It's not my decision. It could mean lay. I don't care. Have I made that clear? I just don't care. Uh-oh. I just got a text message, and I'm going to answer that, and then we'll come back and play some more. Talk to you in a few.